Thank you, the studio audience. No, they really are a fabulous audience here this evening, I can say that. Good heaven. Well, I think I can, really. It's amazing, you know, the difference that a bowl of soup and a promise of a bed for the night can make. Listen to this. This will make you laugh. Well, it won't make everybody laugh, you know, because you can never please everybody, as we know. I was working, this is true, I was working in the theatre last week, and after the performance, two little boys at the stage doors, and one said, "I thought you were very good," he said. "Will you give me your autograph?" And the other one said, "Well, I thought you were rotten." So I gave him 10p, you see, to the little boy who said I was rotten. You see, and the other little boy said, "I said you were very good, and you gave me nothing. And he said you were rotten, and you gave him 10p. And I said, "Well, I gave him 10p because he was being absolutely honest." The other little boy said, "What do you mean he was being honest? He never even saw the show. It was me that told him you were rotten." True. Anyway, here is this very funny story that my agent sold me. Now, it's about an airliner full of holidaymakers returning from the continent. Now, there's always a temptation, you know, when a comedian is talking about airplanes, to do the jokes, you know, about the plane was so old that it had an outside toilet, and when we landed to refuel, we took on wood. But I am not going to do that sort of thing, because, I mean, that was years ago when, you know, when they did these really cheap continental holidays, you know, the old kamikaze pound stretchers. White knuckle flights, you know, when everybody used to sit there, you know, before takeoff, holding their breath, you know. Sometimes it was so quiet you could hear the Death Watch beetle in the propellers. And then when the undercarriage failed, all the third-class passengers had to put their legs through holes in the floor and run like hell, you know. But I have just had a thought that there might be viewers watching at home. You know, it's possible, it's a cold night and people just can't afford to go to the pubs and pictures like they used to, you know. I rang our local cinema last night and I said, "What time does the big picture start?" He said, "What time can you get here?" Perhaps not exactly true, but they have had to make economies, you know. I mean, we used to have a very pretty girl with a torch showing us to our seats, you know. Now they've got a cat with one eye that walks down the aisle backwards. But what I'm trying to say, if I'll give myself half a chance, is that there might be viewers watching at home of a nervous disposition who don't like airplane stories, you know. Actually, my wife has been like that ever since, you know, during the war. Her father was shot down by one of our own aircraft. No, he was up there building a chimney, and the pilot mistook him. For an enemy bricklayer. So if I may digress for a moment, just to suggest that any nervous viewers, they can slope off now, make a cup of win carnis while we finish the J-O-K-E about the airplane. Now, what other show looks after neurotics like we do, eh? We should get a grant from the National Health. We do? Oh, dear. I didn't know that. So, I knew I got a grant from the National Health, but I mean, you do if you're my height. If you're an undersized grant. So, anyway, the pilot, we're back in the airplane, the pilot said, "We shall be landing at London," it's the microphone in here. He said, "We shall be landing," what little pen pictures I paint. "We shall be landing." Oh dear, it's like the rep at Cromer. "We shall be landing." We shall be landing, they're doing Lorna Doone at the moment. At Cromer, you know. Case comes up on Thursday, but anyway. We shall be landing. But we shall be landing at London. We'll be landing in a minute, hang on. We shall be landing at London Airport in 5 minutes. Please fasten your seatbelts. Thank you very much. And inadvertently, forgetting to turn the mic off, he turned to the co-pilot, he said, "And the first thing I'm going to do when I land is have a pint, and then I'm going to make mad, passionate love, violent love to that new blonde hostess." So the hostess down the airplane, she hears this, you know, from one of the speakers. So she runs down the cabin, you know, to tell him to switch it off, and trips flat on her face over an old lady's foot. The old lady looks down and said, "No need to be in such a hurry, dear," she said. "I distinctly heard him say he was going to have a pint first."